Capricorn season has a reputation for being all about the hustle, productivity, grinding towards your goals. But that's actually not the whole story. Capricorn season is about what lasts, what you're building, what you're committing to, and what kind of legacy you're quietly creating, even when no one is watching. So today I want to talk to you about Capricorn season, its ruling planet, and share an earth element spell that you can do to really ground into this energy, especially if you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed out about the new year. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome. My name is Meg. This is Moon Magic Spirit, and if you're wanting to learn more about all the other astrological signs, be sure to check out my astrological season playlist and save it so you can come back each astrological season in the next year to learn more about all of them. And before we really dive in, are you someone who loves Capricorn season, or does it stress you out? Let me know in the comments. Capricorn season begins with the winter solstice this year in 2025, the longest night of the year, and that timing is important. Even though the light is beginning to return, we're still in a season of rest, quiet, and reflection. There can be tension here because the calendar says new year, new goals, but your body still might need and want restoration. So Capricorn teaches us how to hold both rest and responsibility, rest and structure. And that balance is where the real magic of this season lives. If you've ever felt pulled in two directions lately, wanting to rest, but also feeling like you need to be planning something, this season is speaking directly to you. Now, when we think about Capricorn, it is in the earth element, and it is the third earth sign in the zodiac. And I like to think of it as the mature earth sign. All these final bosses, we have Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces as the mature signs in their elements. So this energy knows how to take a dream and actually transform it into something real. So let's pause and take a moment to look at the earth signs through a more practical lens. Let's imagine Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn as our friends. We have Taurus, who is like the baby earth sign at the very beginning. Like they were just birthed into like this astrological world. They might discover that they have a really big love for self-care, candles, skincare, the cozy rituals. They are creating for pleasure, for comfort, for connection. It's intimate. They like to stay home. They're not leaving. They're having all the cozy fun time at home. And let's say our little Taurus is so into the self-care that they discover candle making. They are fascinated by this. They love it so much. They are making all different kinds of candles, all of the different scents. They kind of really dove head into this. And when Virgo comes over to hang out, they're like, whoa, this is messy. Like, what's happening here? Let's pause. Let's reflect. And they're like, okay, I like that you're doing this, but like this disorganization isn't it? So Virgo comes in and says, how can we organize all of this? And so Virgo is there to build the systems, refine the process of it, and create efficiency. Things start to make sense. They're like, okay, let's sit down and organize this. Let's clear out this process. This is where we're making this is where the label making station is. This is where we're pouring the candles. This is where the candles are setting. This is where we're storing the candles that are done and ready to go. Now let's organize them by different categories of scent. So Virgo is really there to set up the system structure. Then Capricorn comes in and is like, whoa, I like what's going on here. Like what can we do with this? Because Capricorn is starting to see the entire vision of this candle making venture. They don't just see the product or see the system, but they see the future in it. They're like, let's create an online storefront. Like, why aren't we selling these? We can make so much opportunity with these candles. Let's start with an online storefront. And then once we build up enough, let's have a brick and mortar storefront. So they see the brand, they see the vision, they see the expansion of it all while having fun with it at the same time. Like they're having candle making parties. It's going to be great. So Capricorn doesn't just ask, can it work? Capricorn asks, is this built to last? And that's exactly why Capricorn energy is so tied to ambition, structure, and long-term planning. It's not about just having the passion. It's also about taking that passion and having sustainability run alongside with it, so you're not getting excited and then immediately burnt out. Now, here's where Capricorn can start to get a little bit complicated. Capricorn often struggles to untangle worth from productivity. Growth and expansion can feel like a little bit of a game to them. It's a challenge to conquer. And that's not because Capricorn is like shallow or vain or they want all the accolades to come with this challenge. It's because security truly matters to them. That's the root of it. Because at its core, Capricorn wants a solid foundation. It doesn't want something that's going to tippy top over and collapse. They want a future that really feels safe and a legacy that actually means something. They just don't want to do it for the sake of doing it. They want something built to last for generations. And Dolly Parton is a really beautiful example of Capricorn energy because yes, she's wildly successful and has all these accolades, but she's also deeply generous, funny, and she's value driven and intentional about what she's wanting to leave behind. So despite the stereotype that Capricorns are boring, like they're not at all. Like you don't actually know Capricorns if you think that they're stuffy and boring. They are very much work hard, play hard people. As a fire sign, I love a Capricorn because they do just that. They work hard and they play just as hard. They have that balance figured out. They're not sitting at home like Taurus or, you know, avoiding coming out because they're organizing something like Virgo. I know I'm being so stereotypical here. Don't yell at me. They're wanting to celebrate. They're like, hey, I did all these things. Look how cool it is. Like, let's have fun. It's time to unwind. It's time to relax. Their humor is dry, sharp, and deeply underrated. Capricorns are some of the funniest people. So if you're a Capricorn or you have strong Capricorn placements in your birth chart, does any of this resonate with you? Or do you see this energy showing up differently in your life? Let me know in the comments. Let's talk about Capricorn's planetary ruler because we can't have the sign without the planet. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. And this planet scares people. It makes them nervous. Pop Astrology has taken Saturn and ran with it. But don't have fear about Saturn because of Pop Astrology. But Saturn is the planet that's really associated with discipline, boundaries, time, and responsibility. It's a planet that takes 29 and a half years roughly to rotate around the sun, which is why it's a big deal, which is why you always hear people talking about their Saturn return, how they're going to crash out, all this and that. And I have a lot to say. Again, Pop Astrology, people saying things for clicks and likes. You're not going to crash out during your Saturn return if you're paying attention to these things. Because then we also have people that want to be dismissive of astrology because their Saturn return wasn't as awful as someone else. Like, it's not a competition. It's so individual to everyone in their birth chart and the actions you choose to take and the actions you choose to not take. So if you're somebody that's really in tune with what's going on around you and you're asking these really meaningful questions and sitting with the questions of Saturn, you're already doing the work. You're not resisting, so your Saturn return isn't going to be fighting you, if that makes sense. And it's also why we have these monumental moments as we're turning 30, as we hit midlife, right? The midlife crisis used to be your end of your 50s into your 60s. That's your second Saturn return that's happening. And Saturn is a planet that moves slowly. It doesn't rush. And that's part of the wisdom of it taking those 29 and a half years to like really marinate in these lessons, in this wisdom. And while Saturn gets labeled as restrictive or heavy or awful, it's a planet that asks really meaningful questions like, where do I come from? Where am I going? What am I building and why? So if you are already doing the work, leaning into those questions and thinking about those things and really paying attention, maybe that's why your Saturn return didn't feel as harsh, because you were already doing the work or leaning into the Saturn energy. Just saying, just throwing it out there. And if you're somebody that has not hit your Saturn return or you're frightened of it, Saturn isn't here to punish you. Like, entering your 30s isn't a punishment. It's here to help you mature into yourself, to show where boundaries are necessary in your life. If you're feeling that friction, do you need a boundary put up? Where commitment is required, where avoiding is no longer sustainable. So if you're really feeling it, it's like, have you been avoiding these things? Have you been putting them off? Because Saturn's here to make you deal with them. That's my rant on Saturn returns. So let's kind of talk into Saturn energy a little bit more and how it can show up into day-to-day examples. Saturn shows up when you have somebody that is extremely successful, but they choose privacy over visibility. They're hiding from the limelight. They're not choosing to have the fame with their success. Saturn shows up when you're feeling too scared to confront someone, but you do it anyway because you know it's going to bring you clarity and set healthy boundaries. Saturn can also show up as a contract that protects your work and prevents someone else from stealing it. So if you've been feeling pressure around responsibilities, boundaries, or long-term decisions lately, this is Saturn working with you, trying to help you, not against you. Now let's move into our Capricorn-themed spell. Capricorn really favors grounded, simple magic. You don't need to have an elaborate spell during this time of year because consistency is going to be our spell. Let's go over supplies. You're going to need a bowl, so I just have this tiny bowl. It can be any size, as big or small as your heart desires. And we're going to be adding some earth elements into this. So you can choose soil, salt, or sand to fill it. I'm going to be using salt myself. And we need a tangible object to represent an earth element again. So a suggestion is a coin, something that you easily have on hand. I'm going to be using a key because I want to unlock what I'm manifesting. And you can also use a crystal, anything that is a physical object that you think represents earth energy can go on top of it. So we're going to pour our salt, soil, or sand into here. And I'm going to be thinking about how this is grounding energy as I'm pouring it, because that's part of what I'm wanting to manifest and bring forward. I filled mine about halfway up. On a small piece of paper, you're going to write down one long-term intention, something that you want to build steadily and slowly, and this is something that we're really going to be focusing on and charging for the next month. Once you have your intention on your piece of paper, you're going to fold it up, and I am always a big fan of SWAC, Seal It With a Kiss. I like to whisper thank you into it. And what you can do is you can put your piece of paper under the bowl or you can bury it inside. I'm going to bury mine. So I'm going to put a little bit more salt on top of this. Now that we have our paper either buried or under the bowl, we're going to take our object, we're going to hold it in our hands, close our eyes, take a deep breath, grounding down. And we're going to say the following incantation. With patience, structure, and steady care, I build what lasts and release despair. With patience, structure, and steady care, I build what lasts and release despair. With patience, structure, and steady care, I build what lasts and release despair. So now we're going to take our object and place it on top of our bowl, on top of the salt, soil, or sand. And we're going to leave this and let it sit for the duration of Capricorn season, or if you're finding this not during Capricorn season and you want to do it, for the duration of about a month. So once a week, if you can remember, come back to the bowl and either pick the bowl up or touch the object in the bowl and say the incantation or reaffirm your intention that you wrote down. Either one. If you're somebody like me that doesn't always get it to remembering, write down the incantation and, have that at your disposal. Or if you put your intention under the bowl and you can easily access it, just open it up and think about your intention, close your eyes, and really focus the energy on the bowl. Do that once a week to reaffirm this intention in this spell. And this spell is going to work through consistency, which is very Capricorn. So if you tried this spell, let me know down below how it feels, because Capricorn magic, remember, it's building up. It's like this grand crescendo. It's going to work quietly over time, but have an impact once it hits. Capricorn season reminds us that discipline doesn't have to be harsh. Structure doesn't have to be rigid, and growth doesn't have to be painful. If you're someone that wants some extra support moving through seasons intentionally, I hold that space for you inside of Lens of Magic, which is my online community where we work with collective tarot readings, monthly rituals, and seasonal alignment without pressure and overwhelm. And for members of the Portal tier, it's very exciting because in the first part of 2026, we are going to have snail mail tarot readings. What that is a personalized tarot reading from me to you, sent in the mail, because who doesn't love getting things in the mail? I know I sure do. So that's returning in January. And February, Portal members are going to be getting a magical surprise also sent to them in the mail, with snail mail returning again in March. So exciting. I love Lens of Magic because it's a slower, less pressured, and more tangible way of practicing magic and doing it together in community, but also at your own pace. So if you are at all interested, you can find the links down in the description box if you want to explore. I also will have my video at the end of this explaining what Lens of Magic is. And before you go, what are you intentionally building this Capricorn season? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for your time and energy in this video. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.